Last time on MoonFriends Talking Space. Doctor, he's not gonna make it! Not if I have anything to say about it. Doctor, your severed penis can't finish the liver transplant. Yes, it can. Yes, I can. That's not the patient. That's my father-in-law. And I also have a bomb strapped to my chest. No, I'll never make it to Ryan's Quinceañera. No! Now, on MoonFriends Talking Space.
What the hell was that?
I thought it was funny.
You sure worked. Anyway. Welcome back to Talking Space, where Drew has a fucking nervous, creeping breakdown around the corner, but he never really rounds it. He just kind of looks at it sometimes. He'll look directly at it through the walls and everything, but now we are talking about what I'm going to have a lovely time talking about. Drew's freaking the fuck out, whatever. He's doing his thing because he's a loser. But... But he's...
You know why I do this? You know why I do this? Because it's fun, Jam! Just let me have fun!
You just have fun with your cuck ooze.
You want character motivation? You sat in that miserable dark box for 90 minutes. You complained about no character motivation? Here's my character motivation. Sometimes I just think something's funny and I want to do it.
That's...
Deal with it!
Ugh. Breath of the Wild has been in development since the end of Skyward Sword. Not HD, just Skyward Sword. And they remastered a lot of games to learn from them and do what they needed to do to make a really good Zelda game. And I realize that it has a lot of flaws. I think the world is so rich for me that it almost makes up for most of them. However,
What?
The one thing I can absolutely knock on that's not a mechanic is the story. And it feels like the story was kind of hastily thrown in a little bit. Like it just, either that or it just feels under-delivered. But I still like it enough. And now we move on to Fuck Ass. How would you like to ruin my life? You get this privilege, Drew. I'm sorry, but you get this privilege you get to Mario movie me.
It's really not gonna be that bad.
You're the one who was saying you're gonna tear my asshole a new one and make me want to grab my axe earlier, so that's up to you.
You're the one who said that!
I think, did Ariel say it?
You're the one who said that!
I thought Ariel was the one who...
I'm looking in the logs. Wow, Drew doing more work than Ryan. What a crazy thing that's never happened before.
Do you edit our shit? I don't think so.
Because I'm not a loser.
Our videos say otherwise.
Our videos. You say that. No one else does. No one else says I'm a loser.
I'm joking.
My family thinks I'm fine. My coworkers think I'm fine. You think I'm fine. But you, the character, the little fucking monkey in your head, says that I'm a loser because it's funny.
It's kind of funny.
April 9th. 2023, 12:30 p.m. Hey Drew, remember when you wore glasses like a fucking nerd? What happened? Do you use contacts now? Let's see. W2K 2022, Pokemon, Thanos,
Pokemon,
Super Mario Sunshine, Ruby, Sonic, Kirby. I'm the nerd. Look at me with my fucking pencil protector and my TI-83. I'm the nerd. I cannot stand this lump of waste.
I've been called worse.
But at least you haven't been called a loser.
I have.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
So why do you inflict that on other people?
Because you call me things also and say that I'm not funny and say that, Ryan, you're my best not friend.
Yes, funny.
That's why I say like that to you.
See, that's good character motivation. Yeah, unlike the... no, it doesn't tie into this. It ties in more to the Mario movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's more Mario movie.
You really jumped right into this discussion, though. Cock linking aside. You were like, yeah, this game was in development, and then the story, and then the gameplay, and
I just gave a brief history narrative.
You're like those Smash players where like it's like 3 stock 2 minutes. It's like you pick DDD, you side special a couple times, and you out of there. Like you got places to be.
I got other video games to play, like Breath of the Wild.
I really don't think you're gonna hate me.
Well, can I just say really quick, just to preface everything, we replayed through the game recently.
Yeah, we both did.
And I did 120 tries. You said you did something.
I did like 70.
70. Still a lot, but I just love that world so much. I actually to do is it 3 or 4? I think to do 3. To do 3 of the shrines, you need to first do the divine beasts. And so I did 3 divine beasts, turned off the powers, and just did what I needed to do. So, I mean, I did those kind of last, so I did like every other shrine first.
That's not unusual.
Which I found pretty fun. The climbing mechanic and everything, and still, granted, I still have a lot of items I don't use, but it's fine. I mean, I don't know. It definitely excites me for Tears of the Kingdom, but that's a whole nother topic.
I need to preface my thoughts with the fact that Breath of the Wild, from jump, was meant to revolutionize the way we think about exploration, not just in Zelda games, but in exploration and open world games as a whole. And I think in some ways, it wildly succeeds. Pun not intended. This game, the way that the map is built, just the geography of the land and the ways that Link can traverse it, besides swimming sucks ass in this game.
Mm-hmm. I just use Cryonis.
Cryonis is boring.
It is, but that's my way to get around it.
But just the way that the landscapes are built, the way that verticality is your best friend, that you climb up everything, and climbing isn't just it's not walking, but you hold up against a wall. It's almost like a mini game, and you have to judge where you're gonna step for a break. If you need to break, increase your stamina meter.
Can you get this item on the way up?
Right. Is anything gonna knock you down? Is the rain? And
you can also upgrade certain clothes to help with your climbing.
Yeah, all of that. Just climbing is already great, but what it helps you achieve, visiting these beautiful vistas, the swamplands and the icy mountains and the desert and the canyon ravines and the grasslands and the castle and the towns and the rolling hill, everything about the way the map is made, I'm trying to phrase this right, is like everything looks interesting. You want to go everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to go everywhere, you don't have to. You can go out and find whatever you want. But everything just looks interesting. Every time I boot up Breath of the Wild, I look at everything. I'm like, I want to go there. I want to go there. What's around that corner? What happens if I beat that guy? It's all amazing. Until...
Some kids just screamed outside. Sorry about that.
The bokoblins are here.
Yeah, I guess. Jeez.
I was really enjoying the second playthrough of the game at the beginning. And then my interest started fading and waning and waning. And this definitely happened to a much smaller extent on my first playthrough, but it was severely magnified here. It was kind of like my second playthrough of Odyssey. Once everything wasn't new. I dealt with issues with my extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is when you say you want to win a wrestling competition because of the money. Whereas intrinsic motivation would be like, I want to be better at wrestling and I want to grow.
Okay, fair enough.
Is like the simplest way I can put it.
Fair enough.
One is not necessarily better than the other, but everyone is motivated by different things.
Yeah.
For me, in an adventure game, what I love just as much as exploration and finding out what the world has to offer is the feeling of character growth. And I think both the exploration and the character growth in this game are hampered by numerous aspects of Breath of the Wild. The exploration and the map design and traversing the world and finding out all the character and world building of Hyrule is better than perfect. Glorious.
It's just the execution of how you go about it is your problem.
Not how you go about it necessarily, it's what you find.
Or yeah, what your reward is for said aspects. Okay.
You find shrines, which are good. They're not the most complex. They're not really meant to be. They're nice breaks to have puzzles incorporated in somewhere that's not the overworld.
Mm-hmm.
But the shrines always have the same music and the same visuals. Puzzles don't necessarily scale in difficulty or complexity. You just find random ones.
Yeah. Sometimes ones with nothing in them, and it's just a straightaway to a chest and a spirit orb.
Right, and you're never given any more runes or ways to interact with puzzles throughout the rest of the game. There's never anything in Breath of the Wild. There's never a problem you encounter where you go, I have to come back because I don't have what I need. And some people see that as good game design. And I don't disagree. I think it's just a matter of what people want.
Yeah.
Because Link having everything he needs at the beginning, Bomb Stasis, Cryonis, Magnesis, climbing and gliding, and combat, none of it ever really changes. Yes, you upgrade your health so you can take more hits. Yes, you upgrade your stamina so you can climb and run for longer. Yes, you can get Bombs Plus, which is a little more damage and a bigger blast radius, but Link never really changes.
He's always just a tool for these.
The way that you approach shrines is always the same, which is hampered by no actual difficulty scaling for the shrines, which is further hampered by the rewards not scaling either. I'm late game here, and I have a bunch of weapons in my arsenal that are all 40 power, 50 power, 70 power, and I get a 12 power Moblin Spear. What is happening? So now, if I don't care about the puzzle inside the shrine, and I don't care about having a 900th fast travel point, and I don't care about upgrading my health and my stamina, and nothing else, it's not like I can upgrade my defense power or my speed or new combat abilities through spirit orbs. What's left waiting for me at the end? Basic weapons I've already seen before, and the power level doesn't even scale to where I'm at in the game. But it's not just shrines that have this problem, it's also combat. Combat's great in this game. Link's moveset is the most versatile it's ever been, with things like fire, wind direction, magnesis, metal objects, weather, weapons or items being thrown by enemies. That's all really dynamic. The combat system is super duper dynamic on a level that's crazy, and it's exactly the same from the beginning of the game until the end of the game. Like, okay, everyone also always talks about the poor variety of enemies, which is bad enough. However, even with as few as there are, hold 1 or 2 off for later on in the game. They don't even do that. You can find a Guardian Stalker and a Lionel and a Stalfos, or
Lizalfos?
yeah, whatever. Every enemy you can find, you can get and fight from the beginning. Will you be able to take them out? Will you be motivated to? That's one thing. But you never see anything new. Now, some of you might be saying, well, that's just because you're doing a repeat playthrough. But
No, I get it.
I don't have this problem with other games because even if I've seen everything before, I still have the feeling of growth. When you're playing Metroid or most other Zelda games, you get new weapons from where you start out at along the way. So even though you've been there before, you feel that something from a moment ago has changed. Now I have a different kind of beam, so I can phase my attacks through walls. Now I have a super dash. Now I can jump higher. Nothing ever changes.
You know, there are... This is something I want to touch on later, but just to kind of get into a form.
I didn't expect that to be as long-winded as it was.
No, that's very interesting. There are definitely different camps of what you find motivational in a game versus what I find motivational in a game, and everyone. But I think for me, it's because the shrines and enemies don't bother me because they're always a threat. When you get off that hill and you head into the Temple of Time, you realize, oh, I still have 3 hearts. Okay, I have 3 hearts, whatever. Then you get off the Great Plateau and you're like, okay, I have 4 hearts. Whatever. Obviously, Spirit Orbs help in your quest. And so that means, okay, Spirit Orbs, good. I see where you mean the challenges are definitely not up to snuff. They're definitely really quick things that would be one part of a big thing in a massive dungeon. I get that, and I completely understand. And even the Divine Beasts are like a quarter of those puzzle type things, of those puzzles that you're really looking for. I understand that. One of the things that I will say about the combat is that what's the term called? It's just a sec. It's something like where if you always have it, you'll always choose it, like dominant strategy.
Yeah.
There's definitely a dominant strategy to it in the combat. However, I do like that you have multiple creative ways to go about things. For instance, if you take Chew Jelly, like manage to just like get it on your enemy and like hit it on them, they are technically covered in water. Okay. Meaning they are now more receptive to electrical attacks.
I didn't even know that. That's something brand new I just learned right now.
And I'm pretty sure you've noticed this, which is if you shoot an ice arrow at a fire Lizalfos, poof, they're gone.
I actually never noticed that either because I usually stuck with regular arrows.
Fire arrow towards an ice Lizalfos, poof, they're gone. There are more intricate things like that. Obviously, we've all seen the speed runs where they're hit a log, it's about to fall, stasis it, hit it, throw a bomb, it launches you a million miles up in the air. That's cool, and I think the thing is, this is the ultimate sandbox game because of the physics engine.
Yes, the physics engine and what they did with it is insane.
They had to put a lot of hours in, and obviously they did. The game kept getting delayed and everything, and I think that's to the game's betterment, but also its detriment. For people like you who want to feel that sense of growth, you can tackle this anyway, but your dominant strategy is saying, well, just hit it with your weapon.
Right.
And you have that, because you have that, you're always going to rely on it. You don't feel the need to go forward and try and be more creative. You don't feel the need, and granted you will. You'll always be more creative because it's a video game. You're encouraged in that sense.
Right, or you'll discover things by accident.
But you'll never, unless you stumble upon certain instances, you'll never try like, oh, this or this, because there's always a number that's kind of like being like, do I really want to waste this? Maybe I need it, maybe I don't. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
I saw a GIF on Twitter the other day of someone putting a remote bomb on an octoballoon and then using a Korok leaf to send it to an enemy cap, drop it next to a bomb barrel, then it explodes. I would have never thought to do this in my entire life, but you can do that if you want to. And I'm not saying that these creative physics and chemistry and combat interactions aren't interesting. They are. I would not want anything about it to go away. However, this video is going to be a lot shorter than I thought it'd be.
No, I mean, I still have a lot to talk about.
My thesis statement is, with someone like me who's more extrinsically motivated by the feeling of growth, by the feeling of the game or the world or I or the enemies I'm fighting are changing as I'm playing through it, not just because it's the first time I've seen it. I want that paired with how creative I can be in combat. I want that paired with the beautiful layout of the map. I want both, not just one.
I'll bring that up later. I don't want to say it right now, but because in this discussion we're also going to talk about a bit of the Tears of the Kingdom stuff, but right now we're on Breath of the Wild, so I completely understand. I think this game appeals to if you really love sandbox, like you know how I love just jumping around in Mario Odyssey and just doing my thing for hours on end. This is that, but times 100. This is absolutely the thing. Let me be honest here. I've clocked more than 600 hours into the game.
Oh, of course.
And it's like,
I've clocked in like 400.
In my first playthrough, I never discovered Laurelin Village.
Yeah,
it's a little fishing village.
They don't point it out to you, but it's there if you find it.
It's there if you find it, and that's
beautiful.
That makes me go around discovering, like, well, what's here, and that's part of the journey. Is really just the exploration. Yes, the enemies are there, but they're never more than a small damper on your fun a little bit to be like, oh, okay, these enemies. But worst, and you can agree with me on this one because we both complained about it, is the stall enemies. When they come out at night, they're constant. They're everywhere. No matter where you are in the world, they're always there, always present. It usually only takes one hit to get them down for the count. But with your weapon that's 30 plus damage.
And they pop out of nowhere. They're not part of encampments. And, like daytime, no new enemies ever get introduced.
There's scaling in the most minute way where a red bokoblin will become a blue one, and a blue will become a black one, and
I do want to say something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe, just to cover my ass here, I think maybe some enemies like Lizalfos or Moblins or Stalnox might not appear right away, even in places where they're normally found, until you make some progress. That might be true, but if it's true, you will see every enemy type like 10, 20 hours in.
No, yeah.
In a game where even a disinterested player will probably sink hundreds.
That's true. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I mean, you go through if you were like me on the first playthrough and you buy all the photos, you can tell a lot of them are just kind of copy and paste. Oh, it's an enemy but a different color. It's more damage, obviously, but like, for me, I think it balances out in a little bit of a few ways, because while a lot of the enemies are kind of basic cannon fodder, there are the more challenging ones like the Stone Taluses, the Moldugas, and whatnot, and they're not that challenging. They're something. I definitely love the Lionels.
Yes, the Lionels are good.
The Lionels are really good for combat-centric, and I learned that there's so many ways to deal with Lionels that are pretty practical. I mean, you just firing an arrow at its head to stop it from blowing out fire blasts and everything. Gotta have that good aim, perfect your aim and everything. I do think this game, side note, I do think this game relies a little too much on Where was I? Damn it. All right. But
So you're not going to kill me.
no.
I told you.
I think the problem is a serious one. I definitely think repetition in enemies is a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but I see it as a more forgivable offense because of the inhabitants of the whole area, where it's like, I wouldn't mind if they changed up their attack strategies sometimes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they were a bit more intelligent. If the ones that were more higher scale, say like the difference between a red bokoblin and a silver bokoblin, is that they'll actually take time to look up in the sky and see me and try and snipe me out.
Right.
I think that they did the basic, just more damage, which is okay. It's serviceable in the game, but it does need more.
All that changes.
That's literally all that changes, and I know I'm not for it. If you're playing on master mode, silver, everything is raised one level immediately. So red are now blue
and silver become gold.
Yeah, silver become gold, and again, it's a bit more of a challenge, and enemies do replenish health, so that's another layer to the battle where you have to make sure you're getting rid of them quick.
Ooh, oh no, what? I almost forgot about it, and now I have another thing to complain about.
What?
I think this is something everyone agrees on, though. I think I'm safe.
What?
Healing in this game is dumb.
It's very easy, and you can abuse it.
I'm sorry,
easy.
You got one fairy and one hardy ingredient and an apple. You just ruined the game unless you purposely hold yourself back. Now, I do want to, again, cover my ass. Mm-hmm. Some people would argue that if something in a game is broken, just don't do it. However, it actively sucks the fun out of the game.
It's dominant strategy again. If you have a way to win, you have a way to go about this that will always guarantee you a win, you will continue to do it.
Like, there is a complex conversation we could have about how much do the developer's intentions hamper on the player experience, and to what level of agency or righteousness can a player play a game in their own way and call it the right way or the wrong way.
Well,
we could go on about that forever, or I could just say, yeah, but healing's overpowered.
Well, if I may, and you earlier in this said that they were going for, possibly the most big and wild open world ever. I think because a lot of the trailers felt a lot like this too. They were really going for that original Zelda. We're taking Zelda back to its roots.
Yeah.
And I think it succeeds on that front. I'm just saying that because it succeeds on that front, you didn't fix the original problem. There's still not that many ways to deal with certain enemies. There's still not that many ways to deal with this or that. And it's like, again, I find a physics-controlled sandbox far more entertaining than get to the end. And I like that because, A, there's no real challenge on how long you take to do a thing. And B, I think the physics are so involved in the game that it's hard not to play with them. Where when you see a little rock formation of circles in the water, you see rocks, you're like, oh, throw it in there. A rock appears. And then that gets you thinking like, oh, well, if I throw that, I can throw bombs too. Throw bombs. Start creating, and you go from there and you get more creative. And I think that that's really the whole dynamic of the game is you exploring while also creating your own fun, saying, okay, well, how do I want to deal with this enemy? How do I want to... It's meant to provoke that sense of adventure of, I'm accomplishing this the way I want to. If you want to throw bombs at an enemy continuously from up on a high ledge, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's not what I would do, but you can do that. And the thing I find so fun about this game is literally a lot of, and this is what I realized recently, was the physics engine controls so much that it is literally...
It's the game.
It's the ceiling. It is the entire game. This is where the game is centered from. It starts you out here rolling rocks down things, rolling this up here, just anything. And it's like, when Link ragdolls, it is the funniest thing in the world to me. Because he'll just ragdoll down a mountain, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad, but at the same time, I'm laughing. It's like, I understand that's not everyone's cup of tea, but when it comes to combat in general, I can definitely say that I've felt a lot of lacking. I will say this for the shrines. There are 29 shrines that just contain blessings. That's a little...
And there's, what, like 19 or 20 that are all combat shrines? The blessings, at least,
that one.
The blessings, some of them are not unlocked until you solve a puzzle through like a quest, which I think that balances out. But there are some that you can just stumble upon that are also part of a quest, and you can go in anyway. But
you just don't talk to the right NPC before.
Those should have been locked until you accepted the quest. Yeah. Would have felt more substantial. So those and the combat shrines that, again, they don't scale. The first shrine I can go into might be a major test of strength, and then I can find nothing but minor all at the end of the game if I'm unlucky.
I think they're more major than anything else. But yeah, I agree that like there's no scaling between them all. Right. And
I'm not saying everything has to be scaled either. Like, I don't want to fight just basic enemies at the beginning or just basic shrines at the beginning. But I think there needs to be a mix. Yeah. There is no mix. It's just, here's everything. Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree on that front. That's kind of why I'm interested to see how Tears of the Kingdom, if they're going to tackle that problem at all. Probably not, if I'm honest. I have hope a little bit because of, damn it, I wanted to save that for the Tears of the Kingdom part. Was there any more you wanted to say on Breath of the Wild? I for one, I like pointless side quests. That's just my thing. Sorry. I like pointless side quests sometimes because it's just something fun to do that involves a little bit more dialogue. It makes the world feel more real to me.
Right, and that's partially, at least, more intrinsic motivation on your part than my part. Also, how the fuck you call me a weird-ass motherfucker if you eat pickles with your mac and cheese? I have never seen this. It might be a very common thing, I don't know.
This is just because I won't eat any other vegetable. And it's not because I don't like any other vegetable, it's just the easiest one. And this is what I had, so I grabbed it. So, yeah. But, other than that...
I could go into more depth about the way the Divine Beasts are handled, or the story, or bosses, or anything like that, but I feel like it's all kind of pointless. I don't know. Like, I don't have a script prepared in front of me, so I can't go point by point exactly. So a good way to wrap up my little argument on a bow is I give all of these criticisms not to say at all that the developers were lazy or that the project was rushed. I don't think either is true. What I think happened, and this is not to blame anybody, was the team over at Nintendo, a huge team, worked on the most innovative fucking industry-changing, world-shaking open-world adventure game of all time by making the craziest fucking map and the craziest fucking physics systems ever put onto a game cartridge. And it took them 5 or 6 years, and then they probably had not much time left. 2 years, a couple months, and they were reminded, oh, we have to flesh out everything else too. Well, we can only do that a little. And now that I have played through Breath of the Wild and been disappointed by so much for the reasons that I explained, one, I kind of really never want to play it again because I like it. I never want to play it again because
so you can have
know
that good feeling.
because I know that any more is just gonna bore me.
Fair enough. I mean,
And
the game ends when you want it to end.
I don't want what positive feelings I have left of this game ruined. I don't want to look at it positively just in a way of respect, but of enjoyment. But that enjoyment just petered out because after a while, and after you've seen all the sights, everything feels the same. And it's weird because I think had they been given enough time, or maybe it's something the developers intentionally didn't do, but they could have had a bit of different direction, every other Zelda game gets right. You get this new item here, or this place opens up now, and it feels like the world or Link has changed. Mm-hmm. And this game doesn't have that. That feeling I thrive on in platformers, in adventure games, and action games. And Breath of the Wild is so impressive on every other front that it's like this half of the game is the best fucking thing I've ever seen out of Nintendo, and the other half is the most bored by Nintendo that I've ever been. So I got worried when I realized like a week ago that all of the Tears of the Kingdom stuff we've seen, particularly Aonuma's like 10-minute gameplay presentation, Link doesn't have the old Sheikah Slate, and none of his abilities have carried over from Breath of the Wild. There is no stasis, cryonis, magnesis, or bombs. He has 3 all brand new rune abilities, and it immediately makes me think all those things I wish could have been expanded upon. More uses for stasis, more uses for cryonis. Nope. Start from brand new. But then anything else I would have wanted them to start fresh on, like shrines and dungeons, they might just add more or put some little sprinklings of differences on. I don't know because they haven't shown much. I am actually thankful for that. I know that's been a point of contention. Only recently did I realize I don't want to see any more of this game. They just announced today, on the day we're recording this, April 12th, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, they're showing one last 3-minute trailer. So obviously, at least something in there will be new.
Yeah, something.
And after watching the 10-minute presentation that I told myself I wasn't going to watch, I'm not watching it.
Okay.
The game's a month away.
Yeah, you can hold yourself for a month.
Even if they only show one more new thing, that could be one more new thing that I'm wowed by. And if the second playthrough of Breath of the Wild has shown me anything, it's that I need to cherish my first playthrough of Tears and hold on to it like it's my fucking baby. Because the second playthrough, depending on how this game is designed, might just disappoint me again.
I guess we're kind of into the Tears of the Kingdom. Can I tell you what my takeaway is from a lot of Tears of the Kingdom? Mm-hmm. So I don't know about you, but I watched the trailers over again.
I did too. First
of all, there are some new enemy types.
Yeah, I agree, but that's also the bare minimum that I expected.
There's that, but I'm starting out small.
Of course.
There's some new enemy types. I'm assuming things are going to get very weird.
I do too. Just like in a general sense.
Do you remember a long time ago when someone, I don't remember who, maybe it was Eiji Aonuma, said they wanted this game to be on the level, maybe darker than Majora's Mask a little bit?
Yes, I remember something like that.
Can you tell me how they might do this? Knowing what we know about this right now. Knowing about this game and the abilities we can do.
I don't know.
When you upgrade your power-ups in Breath of the Wild, which one can you use on enemies?
Stasis?
Don't you think it'd be fair that you can do other things? What if you fused enemies together? What if they were already fused together? What if they become eldritch fuck abominations? Because Ganon is fucking with shit so bad.
You say this like it's not just an idea you had, but something you saw made you think this.
I've been thinking a lot on that fuse ability. Why is it so exciting to me? And I think it's because of the potential of what they can do with it. Yes, on one hand, it is seemingly a gift from whatever goddess we don't know in the game, which is fine. Keep it at that if you want. I'm assuming that shit's gonna get fucked. Because I've seen the blood moons and the blood meteors that are falling from the fucking sky that go into the enemies and seemingly power them up even more. Plus, I've seen in one trailer a stone talus had
A camp?
right? Built onto it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, and enemies also seem to help each other out. Because there's the dragon that carries the bokoblins.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking these aren't just the monsters that are wild and free. They're a unit now. And in that trailer recently we heard Ganon say, "Rise, my minions." Seek out Hyrule and destroy all this stuff. And I'm thinking he's going to have a bit more involvement with the enemies as far as that go. And I'm wondering how far that's going to go because, as we know, Malice can do some fucked up shit. We've seen the blights, we've seen all this stuff, and I'm wondering if there's going to be something like that where he just mashes fucking Moblins and Lionels together. He mashes it, which granted isn't a solution. But I'm wondering if there's something exciting for me like that on the horizon, because for me that would be different. On top of that, going back to what we know, I should have started with this, but you know why I'm not too mad about Cryonis leaving or other things leaving? Arrows, you can fuse things to arrows now.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's going to play more of a part in everything else too. Where if you have Ice Chew Jelly on an arrow, you can freeze a step or something. You can freeze a path for yourself, or you can do what you need to do. I'm wondering, lo and behold, the steamboat thing.
Yeah.
There's ways to go about it, and I'm wondering if you don't always have to fuse these things necessarily. You just have to, like Breath of the Wild, be creative enough to get them to help you go where you need to. And I think on that, and I start getting excited. But then again, that's my side of exploration.
I'm excited for everything you say too. It's just I wonder if this game is going to be designed in a way that will appeal more to my sensibilities, or if it's really just the second game again. Now, even if it is just Breath of the Wild 2, but more, I will love this game. I don't care that it's $70. I'll pay $100. I'll sell my soul.
Speaking of $100, God rest Ariel's soul. Our poor Canadian friend.
Who actually cares about Canada? It's not even a real country. It's some fake country they made up to say this is the country where Ed and Eddie came from. No, it's not. That's just North America.
They lived in a cul-de-sac, not Canada.
Yeah.
Both start with a C. It's Canada.
Hockey's from America, dumbass. The Queen's from England. Listen.
But, another thing that excited me was apparently enemies can have fused weapons, too. So that led to my credence of, the enemies themselves might just get fused. Because the enemies, we only saw it once, but the enemy that had a fused weapon was a Zonai construct. And those obviously live there.
Right.
Ganon clearly has dominion over the rest of the world. So I'm wondering if places where we think, oh yeah, I remember that place in Breath of the Wild, it was happy and fun, now have horrible eldritch abominations.
Oh, there's something I forgot. I noticed in the trailer. I didn't really think of much when I went back to the trailers besides we saw Gleox, we saw some kind of flying enemies, we saw fat bokoblin bosses, not moblins, just like kind of taller, fatter bokoblins.
Yes.
And I think they're redeads, vaguely skeletal zombie looking.
There was definitely some sort of thing.
I'm guessing they're redeads. And I think we've seen a like too, or something similar to a like, just like a big slime that like ate a thing. Probably likes. Anyway,
I'm even theorizing as far as like those dragon things are like mutated birds, because where the fuck would they have been? Where the fuck would they have hid? Why didn't they just burst from the ground already or some shit?
My guess is just they're going to excuse the new enemies with the Malice Ganon's back.
Another thing about this, and I'm sorry to keep talking about it, but
you're good.
We're not just going up above. We're clearly going down below.
And I really, really hope that's not just for, this is when you decide you want to fight Ganon. I really hope there are multiple underground sections. I think there will be.
We've seen Talus and Hinox down there.
Yeah.
It's clear. And
there's like a mine.
Yeah, mines. We've seen bases about things, and we've seen stalactites and everything. And plus, and here's where I'm confused about this, because here's where I'm going to get a little freaky. You know the
Dude! Ascend! That's why they made Ascend a thing. Because you go underground! Ah!
Yep.
I pogged came live on stream.
You want to know how I figured that one out? Want to know how I figured that one out?
Yeah.
I figured that one out because in the trailer, obviously in the 10-minute trailer, he goes in a cave and then goes up it, right?
Yeah.
In like one of the first trailers we saw, I think it was 2019 Direct, he's going up from nothing. He was on the fucking ground. He went all the way fucked up.
Yeah!
So I'm assuming if you've been there before, you can go to it.
Oh. Oh, my quivering, delicious cunt.
I'm also wondering if, have you played Twilight Princess at all?
No. Looks kind of fun, though.
So, I'm wondering if this might be either a Twilight Princess thing or a Skyward Sword thing, but do you remember the spirits, how they would have green and blue flames around them?
Are you talking about Pose specifically or something else I've forgotten?
Like the dead champions and whatnot.
Yeah.
When they had green and blue flames around them. We've seen clusters of them.
Yes.
In the game, and it's like, I'm wondering if that's not just dead people, that's spirits. Like, people are trapped in these spirit forms, and you have to help them. Like, because that's another thing that gets my head thinking about tears. Tears of light, tears of the kingdom. There were tears of light in. That's why I thought, because everyone was saying like, oh well, what someone said, well, we can't release the title yet because it's spoilery.
Oh,
and that's got me thinking. I was like, Tears of Light. I remember I sent you when they came up with that fucking Tears of Light thing, or Tears of the Kingdom moniker. I was like, dude, I'm playing Twilight Princess right now, and they're doing Tears of Light.
Dude, I love Zelda.
This is why Zelda's my favorite Nintendo franchise.
Ooh.
And it, like, I'm wondering if you have to do it. I don't know what they'll accomplish necessarily, but like, because in the old games, obviously you had to collect things to do other things. I'm wondering if you just collect them to free certain souls.
I also wouldn't be surprised, because not only can you do what if people have died from Ganon reawakening and you're helping people that have just recently passed, like from, the opening of the game.
Get some closure and stuff.
But also, this Ganon was sealed 10,000 years ago from the Sheikah tribe, which was almost completely wiped out or
they
sent away.
I think in the book, I have the Creating a Champion book. I think in the book it says that they just kind of
They vanished.
They just stopped.
Most of them vanished.
Because they weren't really... I mean, they were defenders of the kingdom, so most of them died.
Yeah.
But, other than that, they were really
and then some were banished by Hyrule.
They just fled to Kakariko.
Yeah.
That's really where all of them are.
But then we have the Zonai, who completely vanished. So it would not surprise me if your theory is true about finding spirits of other people, we find spirits of the old Sheikah and Zonai.
Can I just say that the Zonai are going to be the most interesting fucking thing in this game to me?
Yes.
Because I think I've pegged them down, but I want to see if I'm right. The Zonai aren't... How do I word this?
They're liberals.
They were the... I can't remember how I was going to say it, but like, basically, this technology that they got, the Sheikah stole.
Ooh. You think the Zonai disappeared because they and the Sheikah got in a war?
And who helped them? The Hylians.
Ooh.
Because I can't remember who says it, or I think it's just implied that in every single game the Sheikah are like, they're not good or bad, they're a neutral.
Yeah.
So if they were in a fight and someone just decides to help them, then they feel indebted and they're like, all right, we'll help you out. Because I believe there's a line in Ocarina of Time that leads to the screens where it's the history of the Sheikah is a bloody history. It is an ancient bloody history, and basically the Shadow Temple is a tomb of the dead Sheikah.
Ooh.
So I'm wondering if this isn't something where the Zonai were assisting Ganon, or assisting perhaps the Yiga, or doing something ancient times, 10,000 years ago, that allowed Ganon, because, let's even say this, they didn't want their technology to be used against them, so what they do, they hid it.
Right, in the columns.
How would you have hid these fucking gigantic divine beasts?
Oh, those, yeah, that I don't know.
Because they say in the game, they just dug them up. How would you have not known about these things?
Underground, and then we're going underground! Ah! I'm freaking out! Oh, my penis! Ooh! Peach on a motorcycle! Peach on a motorcycle!
This game is possibly going to be my favorite game.
The one thing I want to point out is Peach's delicious ass. The other thing I want...
It's right there. For $8, you can go see it.
The other thing I wanted to point out is the one interesting thing of note I saw in the trailer was the very last one. The last trailer we got before the presentation. No, fuck, I'm stupid. In the presentation, when we see Link use Recall, the rewind ability, no energy comes from Link's green arm. Every other time he uses a green arm related thing like Fuse, or Ultra Hand or whatever, energy comes from that hand. When he uses Recall, that doesn't happen, but there's a yellow symbol that's part of the HUD in the top left corner of the screen by like your health. Something that's not at all there. It's got like a weird symbol in it.
I can't remember where
And
I've
it
seen
glows.
this, but I think I've seen 4 of those yellow symbols, and 3 were the other ones he demonstrated in that.
Yes.
But I can't remember what the other ones looked like or anything.
And I know this is kind of extrapolating out of nothing, but that really makes me hope, okay, maybe you unlock more, not even necessarily the old abilities, but maybe you'll unlock more than what you have at the start of the game. Some excuse. When I play Metroid and Samus gets the gravity suit, so now going water doesn't feel like ass. Something's new. It's changed.
Yeah. I'm wondering that too, because I've never understood the wardrobe change, because it seems like he's both in both areas.
What do you mean?
Like
why Link looks different now than he does in Breath of the Wild?
Well, okay, in that presentation, he was green and tan all throughout the map.
Yeah.
But in other trailers of the game, he was blue throughout the entire map. So it seems wildly inconsistent, but I'm assuming at some point something happens to where the tunic gets like fried off or something. I don't know.
We see Link with the blue tunic in the intro to the game where he and Zelda are underground, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Well, we also see that it rips. It literally,
Yeah.
like, when his arm is damaged, it's clear that it's like a sleeve is gone.
I'm guessing for whatever reason, right after that, Link wakes up on a floating island, and that's when his clothes are tattered. A little weird, but...
See, here's my thing, because what do we hear in that last trailer, not the presentation? It's Link is reaching out to her, and Zelda's not using her last effort to save herself. She's reaching out to Link, because who's the only one that can save him now?
Right.
Hylia. That's fucking it. I think that little... Whoever's on that statue, that's Hylia. That's a representation of Hylia. They're not going to show her face. They're going to wait on that one, but she's going to bless Link's arm to heal it and give it the new power. Or, do whatever she can, but...
So I want to ask you this, because I actually don't know what statue you're referring to. You're going to have to edit this in, I'm sorry. Are you referring to this?
Something like that, yes.
Because who is this? I'm guessing it's a goddess or
I'm thinking a goddess.
Some other important figure of Sheikah or Zonai.
I'm thinking either goddess or go in the complete other direction, some sort of Zonai Ganon helper.
Okay.
Something like that.
She looks kind of hot.
Because it does look Zonai-ish in the ruins and structure.
So the statue you were talking about, the lizard-looking thing? What statue of Hylia are you talking about?
No, the one from before. I was saying that was probably Hylia.
Oh, this.
That's my assumption, yeah.
Got it.
Because A, they're not too keen to show her off. B, she doesn't look like, okay, well, what would a divine being come to you as? Probably not a person.
Probably a seventh dimensional shape.
Plus, with all the Zonai, I think this game might scratch your itch for enemies because there is all the Zonai constructs, and there's the caterpillar thing you just showed me, there's the block golem. I think there's going to be more enemy variations on top of what we already have, so this will... I say this as a joke, I don't mean it, but it's like, this is the biggest Breath of the Wild DLC that you could ever hope for, where it's like, it's literally all you've probably been asking for. Maybe not as fulfilling as you'd imagine it would be, but it's all going to be right there in the game.
Listen, this happened with one of my other favorite games, Super Mario Galaxy 2. That was literally, we have so many more ideas for power-ups and levels that we cannot fit onto the first game, and the Wii can't do DLC. Okay, let's make Super Mario Galaxy More, which is almost what it was actually called. More. Literally, Super Mario Galaxy More. This is Breath of the Wild More, and my dick's hard all the way. It's been hard since 2019.
There's...
Please get me to a doctor.
Been quite a bit of evidence, too, that we're not going to be dealing with normal situations, too. We're also going to be dealing with, like, disasters. There have been at least 2 videos that have featured tornadoes.
What?
Like active swirling wind.
Ooh.
So at least one was in the sky, I know, and one was on the ground when Link is using his recall to go up.
Yeah, I've seen the big, like, spherical thundercloud.
It's... I don't know, man. I can't say for certain, but what I will say... A lot of this is speculation, where we basically wrapped up the Breath of the Wild segment of this, but what I will say is, for what we have, the fuse ability is very, like, at first when I saw that, like, oh, it's just the weapons and shields, whatever, then I realized, oh, he built himself a fucking boat. And he built himself a car, and you build yourself a wind machine, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. This idea is getting expanded upon.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something to this.
Right, because it can't just be vehicles.
Plus, What's one way you could deal with these fused enemies?
Unfuse them? Huh.
You could recall them back to when they split apart.
Ooh.
To make it easier for yourself, if you want that type of easiness. Because you could also challenge yourself to fight the abomination. I think that's a brilliant type of strategy where you go, oh man, I want to beat this thing, but I also don't want to die. This thing can kill me in one hit. And we've seen, again, we've been Metroided, it's 3 hearts again. It's, I think in the trailer he had 4, given that he already probably did a thing, but I don't think we're going to be dealing with shrines anymore. They're definitely still towers. Which
but they're different.
I'm confused on the way they're structured. They have like
the search lines. Yes. I'm guessing it's so any tower with spotlights at the bottom, you will have an extremely difficult time approaching from the bottom, slightly less difficult time from the top, but you still have to maneuver around the lights. Not just when you approach the tower, but as you're climbing it, which I think is really neat.
Which, is a great concept, and it's a great idea, and that arrow menu, that just says so much. Meat arrow? What the fuck? Obviously...
You can feed a dog from 50 feet away.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Why with that? Who cares? But it's great. And then I thought about what you said with that, the guy who had the Octorok balloon with a bomb on it. They're not getting rid of bombs. I don't think they'll ever get rid of bombs.
Yeah, I think bombs are in the game in some way, for sure.
Some way, shape, or form.
You know what I just realized is, like, putting stuff on arrows to change how they work of fusing items together, it's pretty much crafting, which Breath of the Wild didn't.
Gunpowder. Flint. And steel. Gunpowder arrow.
Oh. Oh, Peach. Take me on your wild ride.
You're so cool. And your plump roundness is my new tool. There's so much possibility for this game that I can't help but not be excited for it.
The only way it'll be good is if the arrow shopkeep from Kakariko Village, Rolla, is still in the game. Do you think Rolla will come back?
I think a lot of them are going to come back. And I think that's kind of the point. One of my greatest harps on Breath of the Wild is that the games don't really ever end. There's always like when you beat Ganon, it says, destroyed Ganon, completed, and my heart goes, no way! And then I go back, there's a little star, you beat Ganon, there's a little star right there. It's still uncleared though. But I killed Ganon. Yeah, but then there need to be a game. But you have that on your quest. It's a game. It's like, it's so unsatisfying to me.
It wouldn't be an issue if there
Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, every fucking Zelda game. Just make it to where I see these characters going through shit. Like, instead of talking about the calamity, they're all confused. They don't know what the fuck's happening. They say, maybe they can't see the Sky Islands because Link is chosen or whatever, and they're like, I don't know what's happening, but things have been falling from the sky lately. It's chaos, and my house got smashed. I guarantee you that's going to be a side quest. Find out what's been going on. What happened to my house?
Yeah.
And then you're going to float up from the fucking person's house, and it's going to be fucking fantastic, and then it's going to float back down and ruin their life. But I like seeing that characters can talk and feel things.
Right.
Where it's like they're not just... Like, obviously, when you go through a game, there's only so many text options you're going to get for an NPC. That's fine. But when you redo a game, you have a chance to really redo a game. And, say, we don't know what the fuck is happening. And, there's obviously going to be some people, the end is near, but that's part of it. That's part of the fun in my mind. Underground, above ground, bunderground. It's perfect.
Peach pins me to the ground.
With that ass. Gosh, that's your dream right now. Drew's just zoning out.
I think I'm gonna change my Mario Kart main.
Does she have that outfit in the game?
If you ride on a bike.
Oh.
I don't know how to drive the bikes.
They're not hard, just use the Master Cycle, it's easy. It's the exact same as the car.
I'm needlessly horny. For adventure! I could potentially have damaged this table
No, you're good.
permanently.
You're fine. No one really uses this table, but there's not much other that we can say except speculation. I mean, there's the puff shroom, there's obviously stealth. I mean, there's
Attention Canadians. You will pay 100 Canadian fund dollars and you will like it. End transmission.
Gosh. I'm so sorry for every Canadian. If I lived in Canada, I'd be like, I'm moving. $60 is better than 100. Apparently they even have tax on the movies, so Ariel's having a hard time getting her family to go to the movies. Oh my gosh. Is there anything else you want to cover? There do seem to
My
be...
face with those fat cheeks. Low-hanging fruit. You know I'm gonna grab it. Yeah!
Peaches, 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 peaches.
I'm going crazy. I'm going to play Mario Kart for 90 straight hours.
What if that was in the game? Mario movie Rainbow Road.
That'd be okay.
Interesting, but... Oh my gosh. Is there anything else to touch on? There's some nice Zonais. There were some Zonai Rangers. Did you see that?
No.
They're like littler versions of the centipede looking one that have like weird eye things, and they're just kind of like taking care of like the flora and fauna. And they're just like there. So I'm assuming they're not all violent. They're just like, yeah, this is our land. We don't like you. Get the fuck off. So I don't know. It's interesting to me. I do love, in Breath of the Wild style, no transition or loading between skydiving and surface and everything.
Do we know that though? I mean, that'll probably be the case.
They showed it.
Oh, okay.
That was in the 10-minute thing, where he gets knocked off by an enemy and then he just floats all the way down. What do you think of the vehicle crafting mechanic? I see it as a take it or leave it, honestly. I would rather... I like finding my own ways to get across.
Well, that depends for me entirely on... Clearly, you're probably going to need the vehicles for something. So what kind of obstacles am I going to be dealing with? What's going to make me feel motivated to put the time into building a vehicle besides just for fun?
Well, I also... with the fusibility, there was also... When he... maybe I'll put a screenshot of this up, but when Eiji Aonuma used the fusibility, you know, like when you use it, it shows everything you can fuse, right? In the distance, there were literal structures that were glowing that color. Like, you can move structures in the Sky Islands, and it's just like, that's why I think there's more to this fuse thing than they're letting on.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like such a great mechanic, and why not test it out more? Like, I don't know. I feel like there would be something, but... I don't know.
One thing is... the champions barely got any development. Do you think their descendants are going to be of any use? Because what, there's... There's Riju, Sidon, Teba, and
Yunobo.
you know both of these nuts going in your mouth. Yeah.
Saw that one coming.
In fairness, I've been grinning like an idiot for the last 5 minutes.
I was like, he's thinking something. And what did you even say?
You know both of these nuts going in your mouth.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my head hurts from how smart I am. Oh.
That's actually an interesting idea too, but
Yeah, I hope I can link my moblins and stuff in the next Zelda game. Dialogue trees like fucking Fallout. You can negotiate with enemies.
oh my gosh.
You have like a charisma stat, a ligma stat, you know, stuff like that.
Did I hurt you in the Deku nuts?
I was scrolling through every character name I could think of for like 10 minutes. Yunobo is so perfect. It's perfect. It's just Bofa 2.
Oh my gosh. One of the things I wanted to say was, did you notice in the trailer there is literally no Deku Tree?
What?
He's fucking gone.
What?
If you look at the map and look at the place where the Deku Tree should be, he is fucked and gone.
He's floating in the sky. He's
That's
not
the
rooted
assumption.
anything. Help me.
That's the assumption, because as we know, the Great Deku Tree was what fixed the Master Sword.
Yeah.
The sword's broken again.
Oh!
So we're assuming he's either underground or up above.
Oh.
And so, no idea where that's gonna go, but it is confirmed that he's just fucking gone. Like, because there's that Korok that in the trailer where he just goes like, "I'm looking for my friend," and he has like a gigantic beetle-sized backpack on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is it? We are 1 month away.
Yeah,
One month
perfect
exactly. Oh.
month. Yep. That's how it feels to be excited for a Zelda game, but I am so excited for this. Well, what do you say? We end this now? Drew needs to coom. He needs to leave. He just keeps...
End the show!